we're going to talk about a brand that has been loved here at QVC since I've been here. I started 11 years ago, and I remember everyone going crazy for Squirrel brand. If you've never had the ruby chocolate macadamia nut, it is the most sweet, pleasant surprise when you get it at home. It has almost like a little bit of a berry feel to it and a berry taste to it. And that macadamia nut that's in the middle is just perfection. This is $48 to bring home 2 of these 13-ounce cans today. Those cans, by the way, are huge cans. I will let you know that they are going to last a very, very long time. Put it on an easy payment of $9.60. We're gonna bring in Jackie Grant, food blogger, recipe creator, and food photographer who brings us Squirrel brand. Jackie, thank you so much for being here.
Hello, my friend. Good to see you.
So good to see you too. Okay, there's one can. Like I told you, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Look at what's in that one can.
And they're big. Like these are like 2 biters. These are,
Wow.
this is a lot going on here. Yes, and they're to be savored. I always say there's a lot of our snacks here at Squirrel Brand that I'll just grab by the fistful and just throw them back because they're just so good. But these are really to be savored. These are buttery, delicious macadamia nuts that are jumbo, and we're coating them in this beautiful ruby chocolate, which is actually from the ruby cocoa bean. So what you're seeing here is not a confection. It's nothing artificial in terms of color or flavor. This is the actual color of what a ruby cocoa bean looks like when we put it through our special processing technique at Squirrel Brand. So that color that you're seeing is all natural, and the flavor, like you said, it's described by most as luscious, creamy, and with a little bit of a berry undertone. So it's definitely, it's not milk chocolate, it's not white chocolate, it's not dark chocolate, it's ruby chocolate. And it's really one of those things that really needs to be tried to be truly appreciated. So if you've never had ruby chocolate, I highly encourage you to try it out.
Okay, so ruby chocolate, that is, I've never even heard of that before, which is like such a cool thing to have here, that we're bringing something that's so different. But so is the Squirrel brand. Like, can we go back to the story of Squirrel brand and where did it start?
Sure. So we are the oldest registered nut brand in the US. We've been around since 1888. And back then, when our founder was delivering our snacks through horse and buggy, there weren't these fancy recipes. It was really just about the quality of the nuts, where they're sourced, and how they're processed. So our nuts are grown in areas of the world where there are very little winters, lots and lots of sunlight, and then we're harvesting them at the peak of freshness, bringing them back, and we're staying true to our roots in terms of like the small batch production. So we dry roast all of our nuts, including our macadamias, and so that means there's no oils or waters in the roasting process.
Oh, wow.
So you're getting that really amazing buttery mouthfeel of the macadamia here. And what I can tell you is these macadamias, and I've only had macadamias a few times in my life. Really, the last time I was in Hawaii, which I'm aging myself, was probably like 25 years ago.
Oh, really?
But you eat them a lot in Hawaii, but not so much here because they only account for 1% of all tree nuts sourced worldwide.
Wow.
So they're not common. They're rare. Which drives up the price point as well. So they're like the caviar of nuts. So you're starting with that. And then you've got this ruby chocolate that is just so special and so different that we're putting through a very unique processing technique to unlock that beautiful natural color and that very delicious flavor.
You will find, Jackie, that when you're eating these, you tend to crave it all of a sudden. And it's such a unique taste. But I brought this at home, and my fiance Nick and we demolished the first can. We went right through it because it was so different. We couldn't put it down. And I love that when you have people over, if you're entertaining, this is that little thing that you put out. Maybe you've got like a home bar and you put just that little bowl out and someone pops it, they have it, and they're like blown away because of how different it tastes, of how good and sweet it is. Because the sweetness isn't something that you would expect, but because that's there.
Subtle.
What about maybe using this like on a cheese board where you have cheeses that are a little bit more salty and savory that you can then mix this with it? Maybe use this where you chop it up, like you could pulverize it in like a Vitamix or something, and then sprinkle it on top of yogurt would be
Yogurt,
perfect.
ice cream.
Oh, ice
Yeah,
cream.
I'll run a knife through it. Sometimes I'll just put a few on a cutting board. I'll run a knife through it and just sprinkle it on top of my ice cream. It's so good. As a food blogger, food bloggers have to think months in advance. So like I'm already on to Valentine's Day now.
Oh, wow.
And so what about a pretty pink or white cupcake with one of these on top, like in the frosting? Just so pretty, because these are natural colors here, nothing artificial. This is not a confection. This is actual chocolate, which I just think is the coolest thing.
To that point, though, of Valentine's Day, it's around the corner. So if you want to pick these up now, this is like that perfect chocolate that's different, that's unique, that's super sweet, just like the person you're going to be giving it to. And it also, of course, is going to be that red color as well. But when it comes to this and the shelf-stable story, if we bring it home now, is it going to last till Valentine's? I mean,
it's going to last so far past Valentine's Day. It's not even funny. So what it's going to look like when it comes to you, your Squirrel brand cans are going to look like this. It has a freshness seal that looks a lot like a coffee, like an old school coffee can. Right? And so we're going to give you the pack date on the bottom. If this freshness seal remains intact, you're good for a year from the pack date.
Wow.
So your macadamias are taking you through the spring holidays. You're taking you through Easter. What about baby showers, bridal showers, luncheons, spring brunches? So pretty. It's not just a feast of flavors, but it's almost like a feast for your senses as well, because they're so beautiful on any sort of sweet spread.
Well, this is really just $24 a can is what it comes down to. And the macadamia, like Jackie said, that is the best of the best. That is the creme de la creme.
Caviar of nuts.
It's the caviar of nuts. I love that you coined that it is the caviar of nuts. And so when you pay for macadamias, you know that you're going to have a price tag that's going to be a little bit higher than a peanut, right? It's going to be a little bit more expensive. But the fact that we coated that in that ruby chocolate that delivers this decadent sweetness, it's so different that $24 a can is a phenomenal price for this, because it's a big, big size. Already 100 of these have been ordered in our show alone, and you get 2 of them. You can put this on an easy payment of $9.60 if you would like to do so. You can do that on any major credit card. But what I will tell you is when you bring this at home, it's that little snack that you're going to take out. You see in front of Jackie, that entire plate, that's just 2 cans, right?
Yeah.
So all of that, that's everything you're getting.
Yeah, and they're 2 biters. These are really something to be savored. So, after dinner, if I'm craving something a little bit sweet, I'll have maybe 2 or 3, 5 if I'm feeling frisky. And it's really just like, it's so satisfying, because it isn't just the mild, creamy sweetness of the ruby chocolate. The macadamia itself, it's not necessarily like a crunchy, super crunchy nut like maybe an almond would be. It has like this buttery mouthfeel where it just your teeth kind of just like melt into the macadamia. It's an awesome sensory experience for anyone who hasn't tried. You've got to check these out. They're just so special.
You hit the nail on the head. It is absolutely a sensory experience. From it melting in your mouth to the surprise of the sweetness of the chocolate. It's the perfect blend of flavors. And it's probably a new flavor experience for you. There's no dyes that are in this whatsoever. That's not how we get the color. In fact, it comes from the ruby coconut, right? It's a ruby chocolate, which I had never even heard of until I presented this for the very first time. And that macadamia nut is a huge nut. It's not small by any way, shape, or form. So you're getting a snack where, for me, 2 or 3 of them, I'm satisfied. Like, I've hit my sweet tooth. That's it. That's all that I need. And one of these then will last such a long time, especially if you are using this as that little after dinner snack or just that little sweetness that you need throughout the middle of the day. This is what you're going to be grabbing for. You get 2 of these cans for $48 and an easy payment. It's available at $9.60. So it's really affordable to be able to bring home the caviar of nuts, as Jackie says. But let's go and remind everybody, maybe somebody that's just tuning in, who is Squirrel Brand? Where does the history come from?
We at Squirrel Brand, we are the oldest registered nut brand in the US. So we've been around since 1888. Back then, it wasn't about the fancy recipes. It was just about the quality and the sourcing of our nuts. So our nuts are sourced from places all over the world, where there are very little winters, lots of sunlight. And then we're also talking about the quality of the production. So we're dry roasting all of our nuts. One just got away from me, beyond my reach. It's so we're dry roasting. So what does that mean to you and me? It means there's no oils and there's no waters in the processing, in the roasting technique. So that enables the real true taste of whatever nut we're using, in this case macadamias, to really come through. And so all you're talking about here is a dry roasted macadamia that's so indulgent in its own right. Then we're coating it in this uber thick layer of ruby chocolate that comes directly from that ruby cocoa bean, and that color comes out once we unlock it using our very unique processing technique. You're going to get that incredible flavor that has those berry undertones, those notes of berry, and then also that creamy, luscious mouthfeel. So let's say you have, if you're a foodie, or if you have a friend who's a foodie, or maybe your Valentine is a foodie, or maybe just someone who likes to be the first to try new things, right? This is a great gift for someone. It's a bit of a bougie gift. It's a little bit elevated, which makes it perfect for Valentine's Day. And it's just really something that, you can talk about it. When we have friends over and I put this out, it's not just people are grabbing nuts out of a bowl. They're like, what is this? And I say, well, let me tell you about ruby chocolate. Have you ever had ruby chocolate? And everyone we taste test it almost like a glass of wine, because some people taste this and some people taste berries and some people taste creaminess. And, it becomes more of an experience than just a snack.
Yeah, and look, when you have this is where you put it out. Maybe you have a few friends that are over for a glass of wine. You put this out, and everybody is going to be talking about this over the wine instead, because it is so different. It is elevated, like Jackie said. That ruby chocolate, you probably have not come across that before. And it's not like it's a thin layer of ruby chocolate that we put on here. Jackie, this is drenched in it.
Yeah, you can see in that photo there, I love that up close photo, because you can really see how thick the layer of the ruby chocolate is in that photo, and just how substantial that macadamia is also. So perfect for crushing up, or like I said, I'll just take a chef's knife, I'll put them on a cutting board and I'll just run a knife through them just to make them roughly chopped, and then I stir it into vanilla ice cream, and it's like,
yeah. Well, that photo that they had just had up there that we just shown you, it almost looked like it was a soft chocolate in the center, but that's the specialty of the macadamia nut. That buttery, rich softness. That's why you pick up on macadamia nuts. Now, this is going to come home to you in a 2-can offer. So you're going to get 2 of the large 13-ounce cans for $48 at home. That's $24 a can and an easy payment of $9.60. Jackie, thank you so much for being here and for bringing a super popular item in our show. So many people have placed their order, well over 100 of these already out the door for M97413.